Guys, thanks for joining me today with Groove Talk, Groove Life, and we are here with the media marketing manager for Buff Headwear. His name is Casey Rolig, and he is a master fly fisherman, and that's what we're going to talk about today is fly fishing, how to get started, some cool stories. I've got some great stories from Alaska as well, so we're going to dive in and talk to Casey and let him share kind of what he does at Buff, what is Buff, how they can help you, in your outdoor adventures. They have lots of outdoor adventure gear, and then we're going to dive into the fishing. So welcome, Casey.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Buff Headwear.
Yeah. So Buff started back in 1991 in the country of Spain, believe it or not. Okay. We've been here in the United States for a number of years, so 26 years now total. We invented what's called the tubular neckwear category. I'm wearing this multifunctional headwear around my neck right now. You may have seen it if you watched the show Survivor, the TV show. The product they wear on there to designate the teams, that's our product actually on there. Cool. So a lot of people's kind of first experience with it. And then depending on the sport that you're into, whether it's hiking, running, snowboarding, in my case, it's fishing. That's how I became familiar with the brand. This one tubular seamless piece of fabric can be worn 12 different ways. Start around your neck, cover it up your face like a balaclava. You can wear it as a headband. You can turn them into a beanie. Cool. So a lot of versatility in this one simple piece of fabric that can be used in pretty much any sport, indoors or outdoors.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I actually have several Buffs myself. We used them up in Alaska for the whenever we're fly fishing up there. The sun in that Arctic environment is pretty harsh. So Buff, we'd always wear them around our ears to keep our ears.
Sun, bugs, wind, cold, you name it.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to pull up your website here just so people can see what we're talking about. Let's see. So here we go. Here's your website, and let's see here.
You click the Buff logo in the upper left. That's our homepage, but of course I think that's our UV line that you're on right now.
Yeah. So these are, you guys have tons of different patterns, water patterns. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. We take a lot of pride in our artwork, and as you guys, work with, various brands. We have Mossy Oak and Real Tree Patterns as well. That's our dog line. A lot of fun to put it on your dog. Reflective elements, so they pop at night and just kind of looks cool.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, I saw on there you guys have a finger. What other products do you have?
So, we're an outdoor accessory. So, of course, this is our core. We make beanies and headwear, hats, trucker caps, packable running caps as well. You can pack it down, stick it in your pocket, and pop it on if you need some sun protection. Sure. Fishing and paddle sports gloves, so full on either finger or fingerless gloves. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to touch here on our stripping guard. So in fly fishing, you're handling your fly line and you point it over your finger a lot of times. So this kind of aids in abrasion resistance. It helps clean your fly line. And just kind of funny, here's my hands, groove ring on the left, stripping guard on the right. Yeah. So kind of funny similarities there.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, guys. So we're talking to Casey Rolig. He is from Buff Headwear. You guys might have seen the Buff Headwear. It's tubular neckwear and headwear that you can use for balaclava, ear protection, everything for fishing, outdoor sports. And we're talking about fly fishing today. Casey's an extensive fly fisherman. We're going to talk about how to get into it, the pros and cons of fly fishing over other types of fishing. We're going to talk about everything fly fishing and a little bit of Alaska fly fishing. But we want to do a ring giveaway like we do on every Facebook Live. And the question we're going to ask, and you guys comment below, and whoever will probably give the first 5 people to answer it correctly. So there's on the fly line, the colored piece of line is called the fly line. It's either floating or sinking. There's another piece of fly fishing or line that goes on the end that is clear so the fish can't see it. Some of it is fluorocarbon, some of it's which is invisible to fish, and some of it's not. So what is that strip of line at the end of the fly fishing line called that's actually connected to the fly? If you answer that correctly, first 5 people will give you guys some rings of your choice. We got the new Mossy Oak Elements and Cryptek Pontus patterns that just launched that are super slick and awesome for fly fishing. And you guys said you're coming out with an Elements headwear at some point, correct?
Yeah. You might be the first to know about it. You and your audience. We'll be releasing that next month at ICAST, the largest fishing trade show in the world, and then next on to Outdoor Retailer, the trade show. And yeah, we're coming out with a few of those Elements patterns in this same multifunctional headwear, so you can mix and match.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we'll see you guys at ICAST. We'll be there too, and at OR. So it'd be cool. We'll get to exchange some stuff. The Mossy Oak guys that approve all the graphics, they live about 45 minutes from here. We get to go down there all the time and hang out with them. They're super cool. Oh, cool. Yeah, they're great. All right, so we're getting some comments in here. Sean, looking good on the. There's Nick. Nick's always on our Facebook Lives. I love it, Nick. Thanks, man. So you guys, we're giving away some rings. What's the line at the end of the fly line called that's connected to the fly? We're talking fly fishing with Casey Rolig here from Buff. So Casey, how did you get into fly fishing? Tell us briefly on your background.
Yeah, so I grew up in northern Michigan in the Upper Peninsula, way up north by the shore of Lake Superior. I picked up fly fishing in my late teens, along with some other friends. Had no mentors other than, Orvis books and, barely the internet at that time. And we found a trout stream and we learned on that and we kind of fed off each other. We dropped a lot of the hobbies that we were doing prior to that. And it kind of, we became really immersed in it. And here I am, making a living at it today. But, believe it or not, it's a really simple sport to get into. I mean, anywhere in America, you can find a species to target with a fly rod and reel. And it's not that different than normal fishing or conventional fishing, other than I have a fly example here. Our flies, they can be small and large. This would be kind of a medium-sized fly. You could use this for trout, bass, a multitude of species. It's called a woolly bugger. But if you notice, it doesn't weigh much. So if you attach this to a normal fishing rod with just thin monofilament line, and you try to cast it, it's going to go all of 10, 15 feet max. There's no weight because it's made of feathers and fur. And this is actually a heavy fly. It has a little bit of a bead head on it, so it sinks. So we actually use the fly line, that orange, yellow, green that you see kind of wistfully going in the air. That's the weight that actually carries fly. It's kind of an equal form of mass. So the cast that's so beautiful is basically propelling this near weightless bug. Could be, a bait fish. It could be something on the surface. It could be a true bug. And that's what we're getting out and forward into play into the water, whether it's a lake, stream, or pond. And the fly line and the cast is what's helping us get it out there.
Cool. So woolly boogers, that's kind of a go-to. I mean, we use those in Alaska like crazy. I mean, they represent a leech, right? So fish in streams or bass ponds, a leech is very much a part of their diet all around the world, probably. So you're in Northern California now. What type of species do you typically fish for there?
Oh my gosh, we're here because it's almost everything. Being an hour from the coast, you have coastal run steelhead, salmon, shad, and a boatload of other species. I had a friend who caught a halibut on the fly under the Golden Gate Bridge.
Really?
3 weeks ago. Yeah, with just a sinky fly line and an 8-weight rod. And then we have trout and bass up in the mountains, and of course here in the valley. We can pretty much fish all year long in any type of weather you want. So there's a lot of options.
Yeah, great. Awesome. So with Buff, do you get to fish? Do they pay you to fish?
Sometimes it goes along with a certain trip. Like a couple years ago at ICAST, prior to the show starting, we went out in Tampa Bay with Captain Jeff Page, who's a guide out there, and we targeted snook and redfish and sea trout with some other staff and product development. So because we're such a predominantly focused fishing company, although we're in a ton of other sports and markets in America and the world for that matter, you really need to know about this sport in order to really kind of get into and understand it. It's unique, and especially fly fishing for that matter.
Yeah, fly fishing to me, I started fly fishing. I was fortunate enough to be raised in Alaska, so fly fishing was part of my early development. And what's interesting in Alaska, so there's a very short season that fish actually get to eat. So they're not picky. They like mosquitoes, renegades, woolly boogers. I mean, you could throw you could throw.
Yeah, they gotta feed up.
Oh, they're and then of course salmon eggs. We beat up in Alaska like crazy. So, but yeah, fly fishing to me is it's more of an art. It's more about being on the river, less about the catch, and it's when you do have one rise and grab your fly line, your fly. It's the absolute most rewarding thing. It's up there. So yeah, I agree with you. Fly fishing is amazing. So how would you suggest someone that has never been into fly fishing? They don't even know where to start. Let's talk about somebody that lives in Alabama versus somebody that lives in Colorado. How would they start? How would you suggest that they start?
That's a great question because this sport, because there's no score in fly fishing. Who's to say who's good at it, who's bad at it, who you should listen to. I mean, we all know, what the internet brings, and it has a lot of advantages. Same can go for your local fly shop. If you have one of your fishing stores, you're not quite sure who you're going to run into. So you do have to kind of take some of that, just kind of have your guard up and make sure if you do go into a fishing store, they're not just trying to sell you on the gear, because it's an incredibly simple sport. Yes, we love our gear. We love, stripping guards and, dozens and dozens of flies. Here's a little panfish popper sits on the surface. So to start, you need a fly rod outfit. When we say outfit, we mean the rod. Some people will call it a pole, but in this sport, we call it a rod. You need a fly line and you need a fly reel to hold your fly line. Mm-hmm. Most common length and weight, and I can't argue this at all, is a 9'5" weight rod. You're going to hear that a lot. You got to get a 9'5" weight, but you might hear somebody who has an 8'4" weight in your neck of the woods, and they'll say that's what you need. You're like, well, I don't know what to get. The 9'5" truly will do it all. I've worked for companies that have made them, and I've sold a lot of them, and I can target almost any species with that. It comes with a floating fly line. Will catch you, 80, 90% of your species you're going to target. And you need some flies. And I would say casting can get you a long way. So I would focus more on somebody to help you with casting, whether it's, a casting instructor, a friend, really be a sponge to that, because with good casting, all this extra gear, all this other stuff isn't as important, and it will never help you if you're not good at casting. So I take a lot of pride in that. And to be honest, casting goes against everything you've learned in your life. I mean, more effort is not going to get your fly out there farther. It's kind of a less is more sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then some of the minor kind of nuances is, when you're casting, this is my hand on the rod. When you're casting, it's actually a firm, deliberate stop of the rod, which takes the fly line from it being behind you, let's say, in front of you. Whereas a lot of people kind of want to finesse it or follow through as if you're throwing a ball. So because of the properties of the rod and how it's all done, that make the fly line move efficiently forward and back to get it where you want.
Yeah, great. So get a fly rod outfit you can buy one from Cabela's or Bass Pro. Typically, I would say a beginner fly rod outfit's less than $100. And I agree with you. Just get out there. And YouTube's a great, place to learn how to cast as well. Just follow some of those tutorials.
Oh, so, I have one other tip about that too, and this is coming from somebody or many people I know who also conventional fish. Say you have a decent understanding, you know what lures work, you've caught a fish in this lake or river, and you want to get into fly fishing. A lot of people have this, oh, I have a fly rod. When you go to the river or stream, only take your fly rod. Do not take both and say, once I catch some fish, I'm going to go switch to the fly rod. That's no way to force yourself to learn. And like I said, I was self-taught, and I tied knots that were that big that wouldn't even go through the eye of my hook when I started. But, I learned a lot from that.
Yeah, great. All right, guys, we're here with Casey Rolig. He's from Buff Headwear. You guys have seen Buff Headwear probably around. Their neck bands. He's putting one on right now. The gaiters, they're super versatile in hunting and fishing and in biking. I mean, what people use them for running. I mean, name it, any type of outdoor activity. Similar to the Groove brand, our rings and Buff kind of go together as far as that type of active lifestyle person. Hey, tell us about Groove real quick and how did you find Groove, and do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it?
Yeah, definitely. So I discovered Groove at Outdoor Retailer, a big outdoor industry trade show back in 2016. To be honest, there was a lot of competition there, but this one just fit the best, felt the best, and I have some other patterns. This is just the basic gray. Like I said, I've had this since 2016. Back to fly fishing real quick. One thing I do when I do wear my normal wedding band on the river, which I don't that often because this is on my hand most of the time, is I do this thing where I'm always grabbing my ring to make sure it's seated down on my finger. So I'm casting, my fingers are cold, my hands are wet, and I'm constantly doing this to make sure that the ring is on and it's down, where I still have the habit when I wear a Groove ring, but I can let my guard down. And then same goes for fishing in a Sierra, not fishing, but on a fishing trip, you jump in the water, freezing cold in the Sierras. Yeah. My ring came pretty close to coming off a couple times. So on any camping trip, this is on my hand.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anything. I don't need to worry about it quite as much.
Yeah, great. Cool. So we will, looks like some people are commenting about Buff. People like Buff. That's good. It's good to see that I feel like our demographics totally cross over. So if you guys love a Groove ring, you'll love Buff.
Yeah, even I know a lot of people who work in carpentry and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. Really, really popular. Use this as some form of kind of dust mask or just long days outside. We do a professional line as well that has a Nomex treated. So it's a fire retardant built into it for people who are working in metal fabrication, welding.
Sure.
So those are an option.
Yeah, that's smart. All right, what's next? What's your next adventure?
I want to fish after work one of these days. Now that the sun's staying out a little bit longer, I can take my old Boston whaler out and fish for stripers after work. Yeah, that'll do it for me.
Yeah, when you get up to Alaska, I need to take you out in Southwest Alaska. Have you been up there yet to fish?
No, it's on the list for sure.
You know somebody now.
Trip I want to do. Is it a float? Is it, your halibut, and then you go, what species of salmon? Are you going to target rainbow trout? Yeah, you can definitely go with that. Problems. Yeah, right.
Well, cool, guys. So we had a giveaway question earlier. It was, what is the line called at the end of a fly line? We've been talking fly fishing with Casey Rolig here from Buff Headwear, and we had a giveaway. We're going to give away 5 rings. So let's see what people said. Looks like a couple people got it right. So tippet is what it's called at the end, the line at the end of the fly line that holds on the fly that is invisible to the fish. So Sean getting a ring, and Blake's getting a ring. That's it. So if 3 more people comment tippet, you're getting free rings too. So I'm
going to add to this. Did anyone say leader by chance?
They did. We're gonna count that?
I would say I would count that if you're okay with that, because that is.
Here we go. Megan Dixon, leader.
Yeah, because you can buy a tapered leader, or you can make.
That's true. That's true.
And connect it directly to the.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
You add your tippet on, but tippet is a much more obscure word.
Yeah.
I'm glad that some people got that.
Yeah, great. All right, we got a bunch more tidbits in here. Brian, Tyler, good job, guys. All right, we'll send you guys out some rings. We'll Facebook message you guys and send you some rings out. Thanks, guys, and Casey, thanks for coming in, talking fly fishing. I know our demographics, the people that we serve in our industry, very much fishing oriented crew. And if you guys are just joining us, go back and watch. Casey kind of tells you how to get into fly fishing, some tips and tricks. And it's an amazing sport. It doesn't cost a lot of money to get into. It gets you out in nature, gets you peaceful with, out in with the creator. So we're big fly fishermen here at Groove. Go up every year to Alaska, and maybe we'll come up to Northern California with you, Casey. That'd be great.
Yep.
There it is, Woolly Booger. All right. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We'll get you guys out rings, and appreciate it, Casey. We'll send you a bunch of new rings, especially I'll see you at ICAST in about a month. I'll bring you a bunch of rings over. So the Pontus ring. And
I think I need I want to try one smaller size just to make it a little bit tighter. So
yeah. Okay. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good one. Thanks for joining.